Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Technology Show, where our experts translate geek into regular speak. How do you feel about mixed reality versus virtual reality? And what are your thoughts? Gadgets or games? And where exactly are you on the battlefield of Windows versus Apple? Stay tuned for our special geek guests. And now, it's over to our Techsperts.
Hello and welcome to the Technology Show, where we translate geek
Into
Regular speak.
into regular speak.
Into regular speak.
Into speak.
Thanks,
How could you
guys.
do that to me, tech boy?
Oh, it's fun.
It's not regular, it's into speak.
It's
Yeah, because
into
regular speak is, you know... Oh, anyway. Hello, I'm Angela.
We have Angela here, and we have Roger as well, who is going to be intermittently joining us to help correct facts and dispel fiction.
Where is Brit?
Brit is off getting his bicycle training. Oh, sorry, that's motorcycle training. I think he's getting his P's so he
Like
can...
a vroom vroom motorbike?
Like a vroom vroom motorbike, so he can pick up his motorbike.
Does he have like training? He has training wheels, right?
I think he might have training wheels.
Yeah, it'll be his L's.
I'm pretty sure he has training
No,
wheels.
no, he's got his L's.
Oh, he's got his L's.
Yeah,
So he's going for his P's.
Yeah,
Oh, so
yeah.
he's doing the most.
He is. But let's go right into App of the Week.
Is there a sound effect?
It will come in.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll actually have already played, so that's the fun part.
Oh, cool.
So the App of the Week this week is one of my favorites, and the reason why is because every day, every minute of every hour, we have at least 5 notifications coming in. Angela, you said just recently you get 500 emails in an hour, right?
It goes crazy for me.
Not to mention all the likes and bumps and, you know, everything that happens in social media. So we need to be able to step away but still listen. Hence, introducing to you Bubble Witch 3.
Okay, this is an app, right?
This is an app. This is a game.
It's not a game. It's a game
it's a
and
game
an app.
And an app, because an app is a game and a game is an app. It's actually not a rhombus. It's actually a perfect square. So Bubble Witch 3 is a game from King. You are a witch in the game, and yes, all sexism and other
It's a
issues
sexist
aside,
game. If it's Bubble Witch, it's a sexist game because it's a
may
woman
be.
being a witch.
But that's not why you play it.
Well, but you bust bubbles.
Could you be a wizard?
You do bust bizzle. You couldn't be a wizard. There is a cat,
See?
though. There is a cat. Now, the only reason I brought it
So
on...
we got to refer this to the RSPCA as well. What happens to the cat?
The cat's it's friendly. It's your friend.
Okay.
Yeah, they treat the cat well.
All right.
You said I talk a lot.
Yeah, no.
This is my job, Roger.
Righto.
Love it.
Love it.
So, version 3,
Yeah.
you have extra spells. You have lots of different magic bubbles that come up. The bubbles have different, I suppose not functionality, but they do different things. Properties.
Attributes.
That's it.
Like you win points
And-
or you might get a free life or you elevate yourself to something.
Yeah, you've got...
still...
There's a community basis. You get points. You beat other people. But the whole point is that, Raj, you said that you drive your bike and you listen to podcasts.
Righto. Yeah.
So this is one where if you're sitting on the train, you're riding the bus, which I know you don't do, but if you do that and you want to listen to something on your ears while keeping your hands busy in a mindless way, that you're still doing something slightly productive.
And let's hope you're not trying to cross the road at the same time.
No, don't, well, unfortunately, people do that.
Yeah.
With
Chickens
Pokemon
shouldn't play
Go.
this game.
Yeah. It's mindless. But the fun of it is that you don't have too many notifications coming in. And it's just an easy game to pick up, play around, put it down, pick it up, play around, put it down, and...
So it's like an off button for your
Okay,
phone.
so why would
It's like
men
enough
why
fun
would
for
men
fun.
want to play Bubble Witch when it's a girl witch with a wand busting bubbles and a cat?
And was Bubble Witch 1 and 2 App of the Week ever? Or did they have to get to version 3 to become App of the Week?
the witch grew up, so she was a little witch.
Bubble Witch 1 and 2 came out way before the Technology Show started.
Righto.
So this is King Games. This is like they've had lots of money. Candy Crush. Right. So this
the
is the
Candy Crush
game.
people.
And so, there are only so many games of these sort of easy flick strategy games. And the bubble popping one is one that has been regurgitated, and I use that word nicely, many times.
And the other people in the game, are they girls as well? Girl figures?
No, they're
Multiplayer.
There are boys?
It's multiplayers, boys,
Right.
girls, creatures.
So it's not it's not just a witch busting bubbles. There are other people who bust bubbles.
No, there's little like crawly things. There's bats that hang on the bubbles and
Okay.
carry them up to the top.
All right.
But from
Still sexist.
it is still sexist.
Okay.
But from a UX and UI perspective, as we like to talk about, it's fun and easy to play. And
Does it look pretty?
It does look pretty. It gets progressively more difficult, and it's just easy to do.
Okay.
And that's why we
Right.
do it.
Well, let me download it. And
I would
see.
definitely recommend.
You're going to play Bubble Witch while we're in
Bubble
here?
Witch 3 Saga.
Yeah,
Saga. Oh, there it is. Wow.
There it is.
That's
This
a really
is-
nice screen.
it's a fun game.
But
It's easy.
But it doesn't like your screen, though, does it?
Looks
No,
like it's
see,
going to
you get-
film you
you
with
get
in-app purchases and/or
Treasures,
ads.
you get special stuff. It's so awesome. It's amazing.
So it's very interactive, just touching like that,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And see, then you play, and then you point, and
Numbers-
it has lots of stuff going
Oh,
on.
wow.
And then see,
She's cute, and at least she's not in a very short skirt,
No.
or although it is slit up one side.
see, and you just
Well, she's
aim,
wearing leggings.
and it uses.
No, she's not. They're high boots again.
No, she
sexist.
has leggings on.
She's got leggings.
They're like green and yellow legging things going on. Anyway,
Anyway, that's really not fashion forward.
no, it's not
I'm
fashion
sorry.
forward. That's why this is a game that's mindless. You don't
Okay.
actually have to think about it.
Sure.
So that is App of the Week. As Brett is not here today, and Angela just pointed out, I am in charge.
You're in
so
charge.
we are doing screens with a Z.
Screens with
today.
a Z.
Screens with a Z. So we are actually going to bring in our guest of the week early,
Rog.
first time ever.
Roger's here.
Roger Lawrence from ACHIEVR is going to
Put
help
Bubble
us
Witch
to
away.
Put Bubble Witch away. She started
Put-
playing. It is a
Put
little
away your
addictive.
bubbles.
Put away the bubbles and tell us about your yoga.
My Lenovo Yoga 720,
Yes.
which is a phenomenal ultra notebook, as they call them. It's less than 1.3 kilograms. I think it's about 1.26, something like that. It has a 4K screen, and for those who are on the slightly geeky side, it has an 8th generation i7 processor.
Does it take a SIM card?
It doesn't take a SIM
Okay,
card.
so I'm not
alas.
buying it.
That was my question.
Alas, it doesn't take a
Now,
SIM card.
The
I don't understand. Somebody explain it to me.
I'm
if you're
with
going to
you.
use it for business purposes, you have to
Why
have a
would
SIM
you not
card.
have it?
I'm with
Absolutely.
you. 9 years ago, I bought a Fujitsu Lifebook, which was a tablet in 2009, and it took a SIM card.
Yep.
Okay, a lot bigger and chunkier and heavier and everything else, but
Yep. But with 1.2 kilograms, you're not sacrificing much. I mean, you'd add an extra 0.1 kilogram and add in that connectivity capability.
absolutely. Yeah, totally agree with you.
The co-host, who's not here, had
But
said it's so easy. But
He keeps saying it's so easy. It is easy, but it is not reliable and it's not consistent. And
No.
if you are working from your notebook or your laptop, you have to have consistency.
yes.
And relying on Wi-Fi, I'm sorry, but no SIM, no buy.
Absolutely. Now,
Having said that, I do.
Have you got it
have-
with you?
I do have
probably
it with me,
a Telstra
but I
modem or
also
something like that.
also have one of these,
yeah.
Dingle.
which I've used all over
The
the world.
dongle.
Yes, I know I had one of those, and they are great. And that one, does yours allow more than one person to?
10 devices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the challenge is if you're an active, heavy user of technology, then you are going to have to make an investment that's going to be upwards of $2,000 for a decent computer,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? Now, you can go buy a Chromebook for $400, but the latest Chromebook from Google is above $800, if I'm not mistaken, US, right?
It's above 1,000 US.
above
yeah.
1,000. So you're getting into that space where you're not necessarily getting the full PC power, but you are spending a lot of money. So the Yoga is what they call, we spoke about last week, a transformer of kinds.
Yeah, hybrid.
Right, hybrid. And
What does hybrid mean?
Means you can use it as a tablet or as a laptop.
Yeah.
Right.
and
So it folds or pulls apart, and you can
yeah.
touch it.
this is
Yeah,
one of
it
those, so this
folds.
is folds in half,
Yeah.
so that when you fold it completely, the keyboard is facing outward.
Yep.
And it's the craziest thing, right? Because if I give it to you like this as a laptop, you kind of think, wow, that's really light.
It's not.
Well, it's really
That's
light.
what
as
I
a
said.
laptop, right?
It's not.
But if I did...
My Surface is light.
Yeah, but your Surface isn't a laptop, it's a tablet. And if I did that...
My Surface doesn't have a SIM.
It's
I'm not
heavy.
happy either.
It's heavy.
But if you've got your keyboard facing out there and you
Doesn't it
put
f-
it down, don't
it
you do
feels-
things?
Well, no, so it'll open up in tablet mode. And
Right.
Yes.
Windows
Okay,
10
so the
10 will
keyboard
have that.
is rendered, yeah.
It is, yet it just feels
It's heavy.
It feels
It's
weird
heavy as
to
a
hold
tablet.
it like this.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
It's heavy as a tablet, yeah.
And so, however, Raj, you and I were speaking before.
Netflix. Roger's got Netflix.
Absolutely,
Everyone
4K
has
screen.
Netflix. But what this offers you is
4K
that
screen,
portability of the beauty of the screen,
Yeah.
the touch screen, Apple.
Yeah.
There is just a solid keyboard on there. Apple.
It is beautiful. It is a beautiful screen, though.
Yeah.
You can immediately see the difference in
Yeah,
quality.
absolutely.
That's a
And,
nice keyboard too.
Yep.
I mean, this is
That's nice.
newer tech than the MacBook Pro
But it-
for half the price. Well, probably 60% of the price.
Yep.
Wow.
2
Right.
USB-Cs
So-
for power and for peripherals,
Yep.
and a standard USB 3.
And standard USB 3.1.
Okay.
Yeah.
right? And so it allows you
So
to
it's a little
do-
bit practical. Just no
More-
SIM.
Well, it's
Just no SIM.
Yeah.
it's just missing the SIM.
Yeah. So what makes them make that decision, Roger? Why consciously make the decision of no SIM?
I will just take on the mantle of all of the hardware providers and OEMs of history. It's a cost performance. They basically look at the number of people who use that technology.
Yep.
And remember, they're making these for the likes of CBA Bank, right? 40,000 people,
Yep.
all of whom have got high-speed Wi-Fi in their office,
Yep.
so they don't need a SIM. They're not making it for the 300 salespeople at an organization who would need the SIM.
Right.
And that's the challenge.
It's true, but the transition of the world from
Absolutely.
the business to the road warriors to the work at homes to the startups to the millennials who just want to be able to be wherever, whenever. I mean,
I agree.
There are steps to be taken, and if someone actually comes out with the Yoga with the SIM, I know that we were looking at talking about the Surface before.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a Surface with LTE that's available in the U.S. And I was like, well, I want to get it, but
Yeah.
then is it supported here?
No.
So
And
it's like, come on,
It is
Telstra.
the biggest letdown of my Surface.
Yeah.
It met every other requirement
Yeah.
at that time when I bought it for my needs, but no SIM has always been my greatest challenge.
No.
So now I'm looking to upgrade, and I'm looking at the HP Elite.
The Spectre 360?
I think so.
Or the Elite Book?
Yeah.
No, the
Probably
Elite Book. The Elite Book.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that because, first of all, my first question always is, does it take a SIM?
Does it take a SIM? And, I bought this ostensibly to work while I travel, but also to be able to do blogging and vlogging. I tour on motorcycles, and I take my drone with me, and I want to be able to edit video while I'm, and I also
As you
want to
do.
be able to be in a campsite in Wales and upload my video to YouTube. And
Absolutely.
it's kind of hard when you don't have Wi-Fi, right?
That's it.
It's,
That's it.
So I need my Wi-Fi
Yeah.
router, my little portable Mi-Fi, they call it.
Which is
or
a router.
which Brett would call it a router.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you
Um,
would.
Yeah. And they would call it a router in Wales as well, actually.
Yeah.
And here in Australia, we call it a router.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
if you are going for the high-end laptops, the Yoga is definitely a consideration. If you go and purchase at JB Hi-Fi, we've all experienced you have to walk up and down the aisles to actually compare laptops.
Why does JB Hi-Fi do this? You can't compare an HP next to the Lenovo next to the Dell.
No.
You've got to go to the Dell shelf, pick one up, then go over to the HP shelf and see if you can remember the weight.
Because you're supposed to go to the laptop shop. Go to the laptop shop, and that's all they have, and they're all next to each other.
And that's it.
That's why.
So that is...
I would say, though, one of the reasons I
That
bought this-
is almost,
very quickly.
that's
That's
almost the end
almost
of
the
screens.
segment, almost screens. I would
With
say
a Z.
so one of the laptop that is the premium in this space at the moment is the Dell XPS 13. It's got extra battery power, and it's got a
nice.
slightly shorter screen.
Does it
Doesn't take a SIM.
Oh.
And the decision with the design meant that they put the camera at the bottom of the screen, which means every time you're video conferencing, people are looking up your nose.
And I notice...
And I kind of went, well, I
Or if
fly
you're-
less than I video conference.
Or if
so-
you're a female, it gives you a double chin, and it's really unattractive.
That's just not
Very
going to do it.
unattractive.
So
not gonna-
Dell, move your camera.
Move your camera.
And that's screens with
That's
the Z.
screens with a
Z.
Z.
With a Z. Z.
Z.
Z.
Moving on, we are going into the first ever A&A split test, and this is going to be a special edition, which is going to be Apple and Android. And
Or maybe just A and E, Apple and everything else in the world that's better.
oh yeah. So First off, I think the question I have for Angela is, what is the last Apple product that you used, and what did you think about it?
So my favorite piece of technology right now has been hands down the most recent thing I got given to me as a gift, and that was my earpods.
The earpods.
Earpods,
Yep.
yes. And I love them because they give me a freedom I've never had before. And when I say freedom, I mean in my personal life, it means I can talk to my mother and do the washing and clean the fridge and get dinner ready, because that's how long it takes to talk to my mother.
And you're talking to us about sexism.
And I keep having to. That's parentism. It's very different. It crosses over all sex.
All
Doesn't matter
genders.
which parent it was. And then, but in business, it means that I'm free to keep. Actually, I can keep working and not get tangled up with cabling and type and look and walk around and
So just
get
very
myself a
quickly,
coffee.
your AirPods, are they paired to an Apple device?
Correct.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So you
Now-
have to have
And
an
to
iPhone.
everyone else's iPhone device around me.
Yeah. Now, the AirPods are not unique in what you just described
No.
of how they're usable, right? So there are plenty of either just
There are plenty
corded or uncorded.
and cheaper versions. There are cheaper versions,
cheaper
but they're not
versions.
as good with the iPhone.
Not as good with the iPhone.
Not as
That's
good
right.
with the
Sure,
iPhone.
Sure. Now, the one thing you may not know about the AirPods is that if you drop them into a cold glass of beer, you can dry them off quickly and they'll continue working.
With a hairdryer?
No, my friend
Just
Jason,
shake it around?
Jason Denny just dropped them in. Shout out. He unfortunately was showing them to me, and then
Like on purpose? Over beer. He was showing them to you.
showing to a beer, fell into the glass.
When else do you show if
Oh
AirPods?
crap! Shaved it off. So the
He didn't say crap, did he? He said something else.
He used other language,
Yeah.
but I'm
You abbreviated,
yes.
yeah.
This is a
I'm-
family-friendly show.
So they
Yes.
are beer goggle proof.
Yes.
Okay.
AirPods, I would say, from my experience of using them, quite decent. Unfortunately, Siri is not that decent. So moving over to the Android side of things, Raj, tell us about your experience with the Pixels.
So I have the Google Pixel Buds,
Yeah.
which are the competitor for the Pixel phone.
Yep.
They do pair with other Android and Apple devices. It's standard using standard Bluetooth, right? But they do pair especially quickly with the Pixel, and they've got the Google Assistant built in, so you can just touch your earpod and speak to the Google Assistant. I find the Google
And what does
Assistant.
she say?
He. Oh no, she. Yeah,
she.
There are multiple
She's-
voices.
Yeah, there are multiple voices,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Including-
I
including-
Those
have
in
a she.
those inside your head, or
No,
Yeah.
including John Legend. You can actually
So-
program with different voices and accents as well. I actually have mine with an Indian accent.
I found Google Assistant a little bit hit and miss with the earpods,
Okay.
probably because of automatic gain control and ambient noise.
Yep.
It's a lot more accurate if I just squeeze my phone and talk to my phone.
Yep.
But what I
Because
Squeeze
what I
your-
did find,
how do you squeeze your phone?
So the Pixel 2 has a squeeze functionality. It's built by
Oh.
HTC, so you can actually program it so that when you squeeze it, it will activate a function. In this case, Google
Yeah.
Assistant.
Oh, I need a person like that.
Squeeze.
You squeeze it and it does things.
True story. I was at a camp this weekend, staying in a dormitory style room with my wife, and I said to the light switch was on the other side of the room, so I had to say, Lucy, for the purposes of this weekend, do you mind being called Alexa? So I can say, Alexa, turn off bedroom, please. She went and listened. She
kept-
actually
and
thought
she-
it was quite
I thought
funny
it
at
was
the
a true
time.
story.
Yeah,
no,
while she was throwing you out, she thought it was funny.
I
Or
thought it was funny. at the
Geek
time.
humor.
Moving back to the Pixel Buds, how they work really well is as the babel fish. So when I was
gonna
in
ask, is that-
Sumatra, I gave my phone to a bank clerk, and then I just spoke in English on my headphones, and the phone translated that to Bahasa, and then they spoke in Bahasa, and my phone picked it up and translated it in my ears.
Yeah.
So that works really, really well. It's this real-time translation.
And it's not
It's
instantaneous.
instant,
Yeah, but it is quite useful.
So
And I
we're
think
saying Siri can't do that.
no.
I don't
Not
trust
even-
Siri. I've
not
never
even
trusted Siri.
close.
Siri can't do it, but what you can do is open Google Translate app on your phone and actually have that similar conversation.
Yeah.
It's just not as cool as.
Yeah,
having
but
the
I've never
earbuds.
liked Siri. There's always been something dodgy there.
Yeah. Siri's pretty stupid, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move on and mention that there is a rumor, and I think it's less than a rumor, that the new iPhone 10 range, or at least one of them, iPhone X, 10, whatever you want to call it, is going to be pencil compatible. So
For some apps.
Yeah,
limited
so
apps.
limited apps, limited usability. However, this whole notion that hold on. This whole notion that Steve Jobs said that your finger is good enough. Bye. Yet again, Apple is copying Samsung.
Well, let's face it.
You've been dying to say that, haven't
I've
you?
been waiting for it, but they already
So
copied
long.
them with the tablet and the pencil. So.
Far worse than that.
Thank you. Please elaborate.
Steve Jobs said you've got 10 fingers and you don't need a pen, right? So, that's only negating something like 7,000 years of technology since the Egyptians came up with papyrus and pens. But the Apple Pencil is $165.
Yes.
And even on the iPad Pro, which is one of my favorite devices,
Yep.
they haven't put something like a 20-cent clip on it, so you can put it in your shirt and save the $165.
Yeah.
I've lost 2 of those pencils.
Well, that was silly.
The Surface
there's no way to keep
Because it's a pencil, not
Yeah.
a pen, so pencils don't have those other
Well,
bits.
the Surface stylus is...
Yeah, I'm happy with the Surface stylus.
It's magnetic, so
Yeah.
it's actually on the outside.
Correct.
And the Note
But
Pencil
that is
goes
easy to come
inside
off
the Note.
when you pack the Surface away,
Yeah.
though. It comes off easy.
It does come out. It is true. Now, the Note stylus, unfortunately, is, I think, less rugged than the Apple Pencil, and that has to do with giving way for the size.
Well,
and
size and smaller
It
and
wears
everything
the-
else, but it's Bluetooth compatible.
The Surface one wears out fast, the pen. You have to replace it. The battery is all over the place. You have to take that off and put that back in again numerous times because sometimes it just doesn't work.
So the Apple Pencil doesn't have that problem for
No,
sure.
There you go.
But you're going to have to buy a $2,000 phone and a $165 pencil that you can't stick anywhere.
And then on your
That's true,
Christmas
right?
Christmas list every year will be get me another Apple Pencil because
Yeah,
I'm bound
because
to
I
have lost it.
Yeah.
Now,
And can I tell you that aeroplanes do not fly perfectly horizontally? They fly about 5 degrees nose up. So when you lose your pencil in the aeroplane, it rolls
There you
back
go.
about 6 chairs.
It's a good way to meet people, though,
It's an
Roger.
amazing way to meet people. Excuse me while I rustle through your skirt and your smelly feet while I'm looking for my pencil.
last one.
I'm kind of hoping the pencil will land at something a little bit more attractive and dressed differently. But anyway, whatever floats your boat.
And the last one is the unfortunate rumor that the next generation of MacBooks, I think there's a new MacBook Air coming out, there'll be a low-cost MacBook, still no touchscreen.
Wow.
There's a touch bar.
There's a touch bar. Come
and
on.
still no SIM.
Oh, touch bar. Yeah, definitely no SIM, but it can...
What's a touch bar?
That
It's
bar
a
in the
tiny
front.
little screen instead of the function keys. And the beauty
And
about
it's
it apparently
programmable.
is that you can program it. So
Is
you
that
can
program
is
it.
that a
It's
pretend
contact-
hybrid?
No,
No,
it's
no,
an
not even
attempt
close.
at being innovative.
Oh,
without really being that
innovation. There it is
innovative.
again,
Yeah,
innovation.
Innovation.
It's a different philosophy. Apple's gone a touch device is a portable mobile device and has a SIM and a touch screen and it's called an iPad. And everything else is a productivity device and it's called a laptop and it doesn't have a SIM or a touch screen.
Right.
So
No.
you do different types of computing on it.
Yes. Well, we'll just wait and see. But I think the excitement of the Note 9, which is the latest device from Samsung,
Yeah.
we were speaking before, why you need up to a terabyte of storage on your phone is questionable.
So you can edit all that 4K video.
It does have the 4K video. It has a 4,000 milliamp battery,
Yeah.
which will pretty much last you all day no matter what you do,
And
which
it-
is fantastic.
It only weighs as much as my yoga.
Which is pretty
It's
heavy.
actually not that bad.
It's like bigger than a small dog.
Yeah, if you're using an Apple 8 Plus, or I guess suppose the 9s are coming out soon, it's really not much different. But
I mean, the biggest thing that gets me about Mac, I've used Apple and Mac devices for about 6 years until getting into AR and VR, and then I had to go back to Windows because, hey, you can't do VR on a Mac.
Brett.
Brett. It's all yours.
actually, that's
Um,
not true.
the-
You can on the latest.
Now, you need to buy a
iMacs.
$5,000 MacBook Pro
Yeah.
and then a $2,000 breakout box.
Yes.
So for $7,000, I can do something that I can do for about $2,500 on the
And
Windows
that's the
platform.
price of a small car.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
or
second-hand
two
car.
of the new motorbike that apparently Brett's going to be getting and driving around on. So
Two motorbikes.
2 motorbikes, or a MacBook and an extension thing. Yeah,
With a
nah.
pencil
Exactly.
that you'll lose.
So I'm gonna. I think enough ragging on Apple. They are a good company. I am waiting for them to launch their
With
augmented
all that
reality.
said, they are the
This
first
is
trillion-dollar
envy.
company.
It is
They
envy
are.
speaking. It
They
is
are.
envy speaking. There are some great products and there
Yeah.
are some great apps, and I can say that. However, there's just
Yeah.
we're just diehard Windows people, and that's how it is.
I would wear an Apple Watch if
If
it could be connected with
A
my
Samsung
Android
phone.
with another phone. I would definitely use it. The sensors are better, the functionality is better, everything
Right.
on it is better. However, my sub $100 Pebble Time does pretty much almost everything as that one does. Not pretty much, but it does.
No, nowhere
The
near.
biggest-
But the Apple Watch doesn't do 4 times as much
yeah.
in terms of
Well,
productivity
and
getting
it's
the
very
function.
expensive.
It's also very expensive.
You can be forking out $1,000.
I can't take a
Yeah.
phone call, but I can respond by voice to texts on my on my watch.
Yeah. What worries me about I would like the Apple Watch. However, I feel that someone like me who is easily distracted occasionally by those communications and the volume that I get,
No, the
I
buzz,
would
you'd be
always be looking
at your watch. and
always
doing
be
this.
looking at my watch.
Absolutely.
And I find that rude.
Yeah, I do that
Excellent.
on a Samsung watch.
Well,
And I can't see the little writing anymore. I would have to wear my glasses to
is
see
that
what's
like the
happening
little writing on the wall, or
on the watch.
I think that's the little
can't
writing
see it.
mentioning the end
Yep.
of the A and A test, split
Absolutely.
test.
all right? Time for XR. What does XR stand for, Angela?
Extra real.
Extra real, X-rated.
Also, extended reality.
extended reality. So
Extra real.
there's been quite a bit of
Like extra
news. I think Roger's has been waiting to talk
Roger
about
has the
this.
news.
Magic Leap.
What would you
Magic
like to
Leap.
share on Magic Leap?
What is
The Magic Leap, after 6 years of development and $4 billion with a B dollars worth of investment, has come up with a product that is not quite as good as the HoloLens was 3 years ago.
Oh.
Yep.
Now that you've said HoloLens, I get what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what Magic Leap was.
This is a device that was meant to revolutionize. It was like the Segway for cities. This is supposed to be the device which is the augmented reality version.
You know
of
what
that.
it is? When they have too much money, they make shit stuff.
Oh, I don't even think it's that. I think they just overpromised and way under-delivered.
Yeah.
And they
With
had to
too much
scale
money.
back on everything.
It's
$4 billion. Come on.
$4 billion.
So
How is
for-
Couldn't we fly to the
possible?
moon for that? I'm pretty sure you could fly to the moon for that.
for listeners of the
could.
show,
And
what I
come
would
back.
absolutely recommend if you're interested in this technology at all and in the future of how we are going to live and educate and police and govern and everything, the first review to watch is the tested review, which is the Adam Savage's team. They've done a YouTube, it's about a 20-minute review. It's pretty good. It's pretty unbiased. And then read Palmer Lucky's
I
blog.
was going to say.
Palmer Lucky I do not agree with many times, but his blog is very well written
About
and very
Magic Leap?
considered about the Magic Leap.
So Palmer Luckey is the founder of Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
And Oculus Rift was really the first VR platform that
Consumer,
that really broke the boundary of actually getting from sort of blocky, chunky, and experience to really giving that immersive, experience.
And at an affordable
affordable
price.
price.
So he understands about convergence and accommodation and VR and the technologies and the design decisions, and so he goes through the design decisions of the Magic Leap and asks some really compelling questions.
Yeah.
Why they made choices that they made.
Yeah.
Things like magnetic tracking on the controller.
Yeah.
The waveguide myth, all of that. So
Now, what we need to understand about the Magic Leap is that it is unique in that it has a computer that's you wear in your hip on your waist, and
Correct.
that powers the glasses. The glasses themselves are unique. Do they have the cornea projection or whatever
No.
now? Not yet.
No,
No,
they've just got two waveguides, same as the HoloLens,
Yeah.
except
So-
that they've got two.
And is the
Yeah.
are the glasses connected to the computer?
They are.
Yeah.
Like
No,
there's
they
a
are.
there's
with
a
a
cable?
cord, with
With
a
a
cord,
cable.
with a
Okay.
cord. Now,
Wow.
what it was meant to be is that
No
they
SIM.
project into your eyes.
Oh.
And so it's that close to your brain, and it tricks your brain into believing that what it's seeing is reality. And that's the Magic Leap.
But you
But
can do that with red wine.
you can do the red wine or any number
Or
of
a
other
flotation tank.
There are plenty. We were speaking before. There are plenty of things that you can do that with. And so the other side of not projecting to your eyes is that the field of view, or the FOV we've spoken of before, is small. When you look to your right or look to your left or look up or down, you're going to lose.
You disengage.
You're
right,
disengaged.
You're disengaged.
And so that idea that you're immersed in this, the truly mixed reality, is not there.
See, I get it.
Yep.
You disengage.
And I think that's the biggest letdown
just
for me
lose
personally.
immersion. Yep.
I can't wait to see it. So not gonna make a call until we actually get a chance to try it on the show. But
I'll have to come back for that.
it's an expensive, not even quite a dev kit.
How much is expensive to buy?
$2,300 US. And it's a creator kit, as you say. It's
Yeah.
a dev kit. The design decision that they did do that's right is offloading the compute and the power, the battery,
Yeah.
to the separate puck or the pack.
Yeah. Unlike the HoloLens, which you have to
sticking
wear
it
in
on
your
your head is just
Yeah.
not a great place to wear weight.
Now, I'm gonna move it on because there is a device that you do wear on your head called the Oculus Go,
Correct.
which has arguably been the best 3 degrees of freedom virtual reality device out there.
Yeah.
And that's bought from Oculus or Facebook, you could say. And it's very similar to the VR devices like the Samsung Gear VR or the Google Daydream, where you put your phone into it. This has a screen built into it, has a processor built into it, and it's completely standalone. So
Yep.
it's that next best thing. Now, the Santa Cruz headset, which supposedly has 6 degrees of freedom, and we've spoken before on the show about inside-out tracking, where it's got cameras on the outside so it can see the environment you're in. That gives you the freedom of, we've spoken about the HTC Vive, and we just mentioned Oculus Rift, that full movement. You can move up, change your elevation, stand up, stand down, turn left, turn right. We don't know what it's going to look like.
Right.
And we don't have our hands on it yet. But the promise is that we're moving into this space where we're going to have wireless, full immersive VR.
And not disengage by
headsets.
looking up or down.
Also, yeah,
Well, so this is the case where you're immersed. So this is the VR where you have the device completely wrapped around your head.
Right, yeah.
And so...
And that's how you don't disengage.
Yeah. And the difference on this one is...
You're cocooned.
It is, but on this one is the degrees of freedom where you can maybe see, or the field of view,
Right.
which is wider.
As you would normally.
As you would normally.
Yeah.
So the HTC Vive Pro has the largest field of view of available headsets now.
same field of view, just larger resolution.
Okay.
So you don't get as much screen door effect.
Now that
Yeah.
8K device
Right,
that's
the
from China or something, the
Ping or whatever.
that thing has a bigger field
Yeah,
of view,
sure.
almost like let's see,
You do look like an aircraft carrier.
40. You do look like an aircraft carrier.
With
Yeah.
big bug eyes.
Yep. So
There is other news in XR this week. HTC finally announced their wireless Connect.
Rod, stealing my thunder, man.
Righto, man.
You're not
Well,
allowed to do that.
Come
dude.
on,
Hey,
Rod.
I
You're a
run a
guest.
VR startup.
You are
Come
a
on.
guest. I'm gonna restrict your privileges here.
Righto.
But no, please continue.
Yeah, so HTC launched essentially their version of what a company called TPcast has built,
Yeah.
which is a wireless connection for the HTC Vive to the computer. So you don't need a long tethered cable to connect the two.
Yeah.
Why would you want to connect the two?
Well,
because right now they're wired.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's right. Right now, the head-mounted display for the HTC Vive is exactly that. It's just a head-mounted display. It doesn't
Right.
have a computer in it.
Okay.
All of the graphics rendering is offloaded to a big computer with a
Okay.
big graphics card in it. The NVIDIA that Brett was talking about in the last show that he spoke to you about. And the only way to connect the two is through an HDMI cable. Same sort of cable that you plug your TV into your Blu-ray player.
Right.
The challenge with that, of course, is when you're in virtual reality and you're moving around, if you've got a big cable stuck on the back of your head, it breaks immersion. What HTC have promised is a totally wireless connection and also multiplayer with that.
Yep.
So you can have more than one person in the same play space.
Which
and
makes
be
sense
able
if
to
it's
move
going to be a
around.
wireless connection. There's got to be that
Yes.
advantage of,
And
Absolutely.
it will be shippable. It will be shipping September 24th for $300
Correct.
US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-order
Wow.
September
Yeah.
5th. Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
That's next week.
Moving, Aaron.
Next week-ish.
There is a...
I'm on restricted privileges, so
Yeah.
I won't say anything else.
You know what you're going to finish his words?
Yeah.
We don't have that good of a relationship, but
Too late.
Walmart in the U.S. is gearing up to offer VR shopping as an alternative to visiting the physical store.
Britt talked about this last week.
Oh, he did,
the previous week.
Yeah.
Well,
because I said to him I wanted the virtual reality experience of being completely immersed in retail therapy. I don't want to
that's right.
just see
I do
a
remember
list.
that. I did listen to that actually.
That's the only thing I remember about Brit Show.
Yeah.
So Maya and eBay tried this here in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Maya and eBay on
They
the
tried.
Samsung Gear VR. And I think A, the Samsung Gear VR is just too clunky a device and not widely used enough. And B, I didn't think very much of their VR design decisions. And so it was an incomplete experience.
I think that experience was a proof
Very
of concept.
kindly put.
It was kindly put.
Was
I mean,
nice. Liked
it was a proof of concept, and
it was a
we're not in a place where, like you said, you want to be moving around. You actually want to look at the products on the.
I want to take my time.
Potentially touch them. Exactly.
I want to take my time, and I want to make my own decisions in my own time.
So here's an interesting thing, right? Amazon Web Services has released a web VR platform called Sumerian. This was about 2 months ago at this
Is he
summit.
saying things he shouldn't say again?
No.
Okay.
No.
And the interesting thing about Sumerian is that there are some 15 million products in the Amazon Web Services store, and they've got a 3D model of every single one of those products.
A to Z.
So I wouldn't be very surprised at all if the first organization that comes up with true retail shopping online in VR
is
Amazon Web Services or one of their partners.
Now, the only thing that I would add to that is a little bit of research and understanding of how and why people go shopping. And, like you said, Angela, you want to be able to go to the store and go walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
Which you can recreate very easily.
I want to push my
VR.
trolley. I want to stop. I want to look, or I want to touch the clothes,
And
pick them up.
Yeah, and you probably want to bump into the neighbour that you haven't seen for a week or two. No, you
Shopping
don't
is
do
a
that?
one-person experience for me.
So what's interesting, if you took two of the controllers, two Vive controllers, and you put them like
Side by side,
you could actually have a cart.
I could pretend.
Experience. You could, and this leads to another.
There'd be
of
no
the
one else in
news.
my aisle, right?
No, but there isn't another bit of news. Well, there could be. Not necessarily. It depends.
Only the odd child or pet that I could run over.
You could have little AI robot people also shopping with you. You could have other people shopping with you.
I like the idea of having the store all to myself.
Yep. Now, there is a peripheral accessory called Cyber Shoes, which when you're there, there's been a lot of add-on tools, controllers, etc., that are trying to give you more of an immersive experience.
Cyber shoes.
Cyber shoes.
You put them on.
You put them on your feet.
Yeah.
And you basically sit on a rolling chair.
Yeah, and you walk.
And it makes you like you're moving or running.
So
in
it's
VR.
it's aerobic workout for VR.
It's a way of locomoting.
It's a way of locomoting. It's a way of...
Is that a tech word for movement?
Yeah, moving.
Making you move or walk.
It's actually a Latin word. It's long before tech.
Incomplete and locomotive.
The challenge is that you're meant to be sitting on a chair, a swivel chair, and you have to actually swivel yourself, so the experience is not like running. There are others.
No, okay, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's
that's geeky.
It's there. It's geeky. For people that are playing first-person shooter games, it's a low-cost way to get into a more immersive experience than just sitting there and controlling your running.
Okay. So you can do two things at once.
Yes.
You're running.
Yeah. The
and
challenge.
Then
the biggest challenge that you have
in VR, a lot of hand-eye coordination
with
required.
One of the biggest challenges that you have in virtual reality is if you use something other than walking to move, as if you're walking around, you can feel motion sickness. You get simulated sickness.
I would easily get that in a heartbeat, which is why I try not to put anything on. I can't.
So,
I just can't.
So there needs to be a way for your body to feel what we call proprioception, to feel like you're moving,
and that
as well as you moving.
Okay.
So
if your legs are moving, then you're tricking your body into thinking that's
exactly
a physical
right.
response, right?
Yeah.
So while you're being locomotive,
as long as your body's moving,
you're fully immersed, and there's less chance of being an incomplete experience because you're not going to vomit.
Yep. Now the last one I want to show you is a 360 and VR experience, and I'm handing you the phone because you'd said you'd never seen it, of Van Gogh's A Starry Night.
This is being done in tilt brush by an artist. Is this the one from the Louvre?
This is no. This is in China.
Okay. There was a the Louvre did a virtual reality art exhibition as well, where they actually got an artist to paint one of the famous Rembrandts.
Look up, look down. So you can.
What happened?
Angela's sort of
what happened?
Not quite doing it. So
something happened to. I'm not quite
we're
doing
playing
it.
the video
I'm
on
not
YouTube,
sure.
and we'll put
maybe
it
it's
in
not
the show
doable.
notes,
Oh, okay, right.
So just use it like a window.
Okay.
It's almost like a viewer into another place. So look to the right, look to the left. No, turn.
Me turn.
Yeah, you turn.
Turn my body. Use all your words.
And look up. Look above you. And so
you are inside Starry Night.
I'm inside the painting.
You're inside the painting. It's a fantastic render of this.
So there's no copyright here because he's dead.
He's dead. That's true.
Well, true. And it's a totally different medium anyway.
The reason why I wanted to show this to you is because what you're able to do.
Aryeh, they've had to anticipate what this 3D model of, because the painting is flat, right?
Yeah.
And here you are seeing right around a building almost. That's anticipating.
They've built it in that space. But now imagine that
you can see under the awning.
Yeah, imagine you're inside.
I am inside.
You are inside, but imagine that
the door's opened.
She's actually gone in the room.
I've gone in the room.
She's not even in virtual reality, and she's blown away.
She's excited. So what we need to do next is get you actually over to a studio. So
I'm now going to go on the bed. How do I go? I'm going into the bathroom. There's an ensuite.
I don't know.
Who knew there was an ensuite in Starry Night?
There's an ensuite.
I'm gonna. That's the Van Gogh experience.
I think we need to go off of Van Gogh.
Yeah, we'll
and the window's opening. I'm going back outside. No, I'm going in the garden. I'm jumping out the window into the garden.
Yes.
This is amazing.
So you heard it from Angela first. The Van Gogh experience, Starry Night in VR, is amazing.
What you're saying is I should have brought my Oculus Go, so we could have seen Van Gogh on the Oculus Go. Because then would have blown away.
I would be fully immersed.
You'd be fully immersed.
Yes. Van Gogh on the Oculus Go. So we'll bring that back. But
that's cool. That is cool.
Yeah, and what we
that
really
beats Bubble Witch.
That
beats Bubble Witch. I'm sorry.
It does. However, you can only watch the Van Gogh experience maybe twice or three times. You'd be like, well, I've already kind of seen that.
Yeah, but I'm only going to beat that Bubble Witch a couple of times too. So,
I challenge you.
I'd be saying Bubble Bitch very quickly. Ooh, you know that, right?
You heard that.
Yeah.
Coming back away from Bubble Witch and back into XR and retail shopping very quickly.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Move on to the next bit.
Don't interrupt me then.
Yeah. Ooh.
With the amount of products that are out there and being able to customize people's experiences, you are going to need AI. And in fact...
It's Angela's intelligence.
That's right. At ACHIEVR, we're already working with AI help and support requests and assistance inside of our products.
Excellent.
So, which are educational products, they're training products.
Moving into the next section, which is our guest of the week, and we will do a rather quick interview because we've had Roger's support throughout the show. We dawdled a little bit.
So, Roger, in 20 words or less...
He accuses me of talking too much.
They say that.
Definitely, there's record. We have record of it now.
This is the most Aryeh has ever spoken. And can I tell you that this is what Brett said to me last week? You've got to say his name R-E-A.
That's right. Aryeh.
Yeah, Aryeh. No, the way he said it, Brett, was R-E-A.
No, the way he would have said it was R-E-A.
Yeah, you would have said that way.
Aryeh for Brett.
But this isn't about
Roger's
me.
got to do 20 words or less.
This is about Roger. 20 words or less.
What are we asking him? Tell us about yourself. Do you like long walks on the beach?
In 20 words or less.
There's a clock over here in the corner.
Tick. Right.
We're going to stop at 4 o'clock exactly. So,
no,
Roger,
before.
tell us.
Perfectly.
What is the most important innovation that you guys have done in the last, since you've been on the show? What's happening at ACHIEVR?
We have finished off a product that teaches somebody how to be a dogger in construction. The dogger is the person who slings the load and instructs the crane. And to do that, it's actually a first in the world because we had to create an artificially intelligent crane robot to respond to the signals of the dogger. And we had to find a way for doggers to learn and show both hand gestures and whistle signals
Does
in
the
virtual
dogger,
reality.
Does the dogger sit inside the cab or
No.
outside? So
Dogger's outside the cab,
Right.
directs the hook to the load, slings the load, so calculates the weights and the tensions and everything else, slings the load, and then directs the crane to lift and mobile the load.
And so has this gone from a
Land.
one-person to a two-person experience within the crane training?
No, this is still single player.
Okay.
In the crane experience, we have an artificially intelligent dogger
Yep.
that instructs the crane and corrects them if they get something wrong. And in the dogger experience, we have an artificially intelligent crane robot that obeys the dogger.
That's it. Now, in the world of I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job, how many jobs do you see being displaced by your new technology?
We actually see that we're providing experiences that will re-gear the economy to give people longevity in their jobs
Yep.
or new jobs. So for us,
So you can be old and do the job.
Also
Yeah.
training correctly.
Yeah.
Learning the right way to do it as
Absolutely.
opposed to learning from someone who doesn't necessarily know the right way to do it.
there is definitely going to be an increase in the ratio of instructors to students.
Yeah.
But actually, that's one of the biggest demands at the moment. It's very difficult for a registered training organization or any kind of training organization to scale their business because they are limited by one instructor to 6 students because they've only got so much classroom space, or
That's
they
right.
have. And by codifying the instruction or a lot of the curriculum into virtual reality, they can now deliver that training or even prerequisites to maybe classroom training or formal assessments to thousands of students.
At a cost
Right.
of much less because you're removing the necessity for the hardware and the time.
Yes.
You're truly replicating yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are. And I think this is a model that we're going to be seeing coming out. Nice one, Angela.
See.
We're going to be seeing repeated. And I know that ACHIEVR has, the goal of being a leader in that space. But there are so many areas where the automation and the supplemental training that AI plus VR can provide in terms of that hands-on experience. Tell us a little more about that.
So a couple of things. The first one is, as you mentioned, how do we reduce the cost of doing really complex manual or cognitive skills? Something like operating a crane, working a commercial deep fat fryer, even doing CPR on a baby. How do we reduce that cost from needing access to really expensive equipment or expensive environments or really well-trained actors or trainers to something that we can distribute like we can software?
And eliminate dumb teachers.
That's right.
Because
So
there's
that's
not
the
a
second thing.
consistency in just because you're a person who trains doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
Totally.
And
the
it's
quality of your training
Yeah.
as
That's
well,
right.
yeah.
It's more about replicating, to use your word, best practice. So getting the best of your instructors and then using that
Yeah.
across all of your training. The second thing is, how do we eliminate risk? If you think of somebody who's never been in a crane before swinging 25 tons of concrete around your yard, that's pretty risky. If you think of somebody who's never done CPR on a baby before, if you think of somebody who's never interviewed somebody for a job before,
So many war applications.
so many more
never flown a
applications.
plane, never fired a gun.
So many war
There are
applications.
But if you think of even business risk, the
Medical training.
we've seen a royal commission recently
Yeah.
because of people not complying to standards of business conduct, which is mandatory training in every big organization. So you've got to ask yourself the question: if they've done this mandatory training, which they do as computer-based training, next,
Correct. Yep.
and they still haven't taken on those lessons, what is the risk of that to your business?
Yep.
And how you eliminate that risk? And what we can do is we can actually put people into that context and then train them in context rather than through a screen with words.
So you're saying you're talking about virtual reality role play as well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's an aspect of teaching.
It is, because you can also introduce...
Let's role play this scenario now.
Well, that's exactly it. You can introduce different situations
Yeah.
that could come up or could happen. The question I have, I'm going to use the word minimize, not necessarily eliminate, because eliminate's a it's a pretty
big
strong
ask.
word. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
big
big
ask.
ask. With the Magic Future goggles on, the 3 examples you gave, the fryer, a crane, or heavy equipment, and CPR and a baby. Today there are robots that can deliver those functions. We've got multiple hamburger complete restaurants that can be completely.
Well, we haven't got
automated
multiple.
robot.
We've got one that's just been released. But hypothetically,
there's multiple pizza makers.
Let's just assume he's
I've
right.
I've seen robot.
Assume
I
he's
can prove it with
I'm
news.
sure you can.
But I think that question of that in between, and the question that sort of hangs on this, Deloitte report that says, 70% of jobs today are going to be gone. Whatever. I think there still is the need for humans. What do you see happening in that mix, let's say in the next 5-10 years, of robots beginning to replace in those areas? I mean, a fryer. Why would you need a human to do that sort of an activity when robots, aren't going to complain?
a lot of
breaks. There's no labor laws.
Absolutely. So
I know, right?
My eyes just lit up.
5 years is pretty close.
I'll say
right?
5 to 10.
5 to 10. So let's take something like an abattoir. You can get a robotic abattoir today, which you can put cows in the one end and you get vacuum packed steaks out the other end.
Yep.
Right. The payback on those is around 7 years in terms of ROI, compared to a manually staffed abattoir. So if we can reduce the cost, and it takes something like 6 months of training to train somebody to be an abattoir worker. Right?
Yep.
If we can reduce that to weeks, then the payback on a manually staffed abattoir is still way shorter than putting in that robotic-based abattoir. So we can actually keep manual skills going longer by reducing the cost of training. In terms of robots taking our jobs, I think software robots are a lot more prevalent than hardware robots.
Definitely.
That's just cost.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to ship electrons than to ship atoms. And hardware robots, there's a lot of work in things like, for hardware robots, there's a lot of work in things like automation in manufacturing. Well, that's been done for 3 decades already.
Absolutely.
And then autonomous vehicles. That's kind of where all the research is at the moment. I don't think that there's going to be that many robots replacing retail staff or hospitality staff, certainly not care staff, anytime soon.
However, and we're going to have to cut it short very soon.
We
but
are.
I do recall that you and I both actually just ordered our McCafes from Screens.
Kiosks. Sure.
And so, it may not be robotics, but automation is slowly creeping in. You're sort of trying to find ways.
Just have to look at Sydney, even international airport. The Qantas check-in has been totally replaced by kiosks.
100% kiosks. Yeah. And I think you're about to say the customs.
Yeah,
right.
That's all done as well.
The entire side. If you scan your passport, they give you a ticket. You go straight through, and you might get checked left or right. And I even went down into Target the other day, and they've kind of gotten rid of all but one human cash register person.
Yeah.
It's coming, and I think as a parting shot on that. We all have the ability to get onto a computer, even if it's at a coffee shop, or at the public library where it's free. Go online, do some MOOC learning, a massively online
and I don't think it even
courses
needs,
or whatever.
Don't think it even needs to be something like that. For me, I think one of the things that we're looking at is micro skills.
Yeah.
So a very simple example of that, the other day I was, actually just last night, I was doing another page for our website. I needed to do a picture. I needed to do something in Photoshop, and it was a 2-minute YouTube video. I didn't need to do a full Photoshop course. I just needed this one skill.
Oddly enough,
right.
2 days ago I did the same thing.
Right.
The other one is, I think people, it's not that they're afraid, but, it's a conversation I had earlier this week, but if you are going to learn something, repetition. You can't just start and get it.
Correct.
And the whole reason why the ACHIEVR model and with this crane thing is you go in and you learn by repetition. So when you do get into the actual crane and you are going to do it, you've already gone through those motions. You've already seen yourself do it. You know what to expect. And even though you're experiencing the physicality of the machine for the first time, you're not surprised.
No, that's right. And you've Not only that, we've given you real-time feedback.
Yeah.
Instructors have been given behavioral analysis so they can work on your strengths. And really, that's our vision. Our vision is that we're going to build a platform where people can go in and learn pretty much any skill anytime, right? So it's a case of you'll put on your headset and, in time that'll be an augmented reality headset, not only a virtual reality headset. And you'll do the same sort of thing around YouTube as with maybe presenting in front of a conference.
Carl. Sorry, my father's.
That's right.
My father's
yeah,
in
you've
the.
Just got the.
Just got to put this up.
Is that the new theta?
It's actually the old one.
Right.
Raj, where can we find you? Where can we find ACHIEVR? Tell the audience.
www.achiever.io. ACHIEVR without the last E. .io.
And are you fairly prolific on Twitter? Is there?
I am very prolific on Twitter, and you can find me at Rog42.
ROG42.
42, yeah.
ROG42.
And not only Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just do a Google on Rog42, and you'll get me.
Excellent. Well, Angela had to step out, but Carl, can you just say a final word to the group? Step up.
Hello, group. It's time almost to go, and Aryeh will lead us out.
And with that, I will ask everyone to leave your
keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode of The Technology Show. Remember, for more episodes, hop onto eaglewavesradio.com.au, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Catch you next time.